No one else should attempt to define for any of our students who they are and who they are becoming. This is a personal matter. This is a matter of safety. This is a matter of privacy. And there should be no forced outing in our state or anywhere in our country. And the Safety Act will make sure that there no longer are forced outings in the state of California.
Well, should parents be notified if their children want to change their gender at schools? Joining now is Eli Ehrlich, founder of Trans Student Educational Resources. Eli, it's good to see you again.
Good to see you too, Phil.
You say that based on your own experiences, that it's harmful for children to be outed to parents by teachers or school staff, because this was something that came very prominent in your life at 8 years old, as I recall. You and I have talked many times before, so I know a lot about your situation. It was 8 years old when this became prominent in your life, correct?
Exactly. I mean, this is deeply personal to me. And I was also in a small town in rural Northern California, and I was outed in third grade. And like so many trans students, my parents did not take it well. They shamed me, they punished me, and I felt humiliated. I mean, they were some of my first bullies. Now, thankfully, they've came around. I was able to transition. And at the same time, I didn't have the opportunity to tell them on my own terms. And that's all that we're asking for as trans people. We want to be able to come out on our own terms to people who we want to know. There's a reason if a trans child doesn't want to tell a parent. And it can be fear, it can be misunderstanding, but we have this right to privacy, and no adult has the right to abuse their child.
Well, absolutely. No parent has the right to abuse their child, and humiliating them and shaming them, to me, is 100% abusive. You get no argument from me whatsoever about that. But tell me this, when you started making this transition in school, didn't you have pushback then? Didn't students judge you and bully you and ostracize you when that happened at school?
Yes, absolutely. And I greatly empathize with these parents because they're worried their children might be bullied. And this very often happens. But the bullying, I mean, none of it added up to forcing me to present myself masculinely and pretend that I was a boy. That wasn't who I was. And many parents end up becoming their children's biggest bullies by not allowing them to be who they are.
And there has to be a remedy for that. But I have to tell you, at 8 years old, and I'm sorry you had that experience with your parents, as you know. I've said that to you before. I hate that for you. And it wasn't just at 8. This went on with you for years, that you had to fight this and put up with it. But at 8 years old, I just do not believe that children should be the captain in their own lives. And if there are problems with parents, then those parents need to be dealt with. They need to be taken to the woodshed. But to make 8-year-old children, 9-year-old children, 10-year-old children captain of their own lives just simply doesn't make sense to me, whether it's about this or anything else. That's why we don't give them driver's license at that age. That part of their brain's not through growing yet. They can't see around corners. They don't have foresight. And that's my issue. The problem is with the parents. It's not with you, the child at 8 years old. It's with how the parents react. Despite some post-election optimism, Wall Street is already bracing for a rough rest of 2025. When Warren Buffett starts dumping blue chip stocks and stacking up cash, you've got to ask yourself, what does he see coming? I trust Preserve Gold to safeguard my accounts, and I urge you to do the same. They're the only precious metals company I recommend. When uncertainty is this high, smart people look for stability. That's why physical gold and silver might just be what your finances need. Text Dr. Phil to 50505 to get your free precious metals guide from Preserve Gold. With gold prices recently breaking records and analysts predicting this trend to continue through 2025, you cannot afford to wait. As a bonus, you can get up to $15,000 with a qualified purchase from Preserve Gold. So don't wait. Text Dr. Phil, that's DRPHIL, to 50505 today. Joining in this conversation now is Maud Marin, educational advocate. Maud, thank you for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
Now, you say it is an upside-down world in schools today, particularly regarding this issue of keeping things from parents. You think they should be notified, correct?
Of course, my kids attend the New York City public school system, which is the largest in the nation. And you can't give any one of the million kids in our schools an aspirin without having express permission from the parents. So to engage in what is a very extensive psychosocial intervention with a child, to transition a child or to collaborate with a youngster and telling them that they're not the sex that they actually are, that's a massive intervention that should absolutely, one, it should just not happen, but it should never even be contemplated or discussed without parental involvement.
Well, this is one of my issues. And Eli, first off, is an example of what happens when parents don't respond well. No question about that. And I've known Eli for a number of years, and she is one of the nicest, sweetest, reasonable people. We don't agree on this, but otherwise is one of the nicest people you'd ever want to meet. But we disagree about this. And my point is, what you're saying, this is a complex issue, and teachers, who I have the highest respect for, are not trained in this at all. They haven't got any training, not a clue on how to assess this, diagnose if there are issues going on that might be distorting perceptions, whatever. Don't know how to properly facilitate this sort of thing. And parents who know the child best, seems to me they should be on the team if this is going to take place. They know the child the best, and having them in a dialogue gives the counselor an opportunity to say, uh-oh, we got a parent here that is subject to knee-jerk reactions, being abusive or whatever. It seems like that's the first place they should look to see if they're potentially abusive or a resource. As you say, they can't even give an aspirin. Why would we be turning this process over to someone that's not trained for it and doesn't have a good history with the child? Eli, what do you say about that?
Well, parents aren't also trained, but actually, let's talk about expertise. Every major medical association and every major psychological association agrees that outing children, outing anyone, can have negative impacts on the mental health of the person who's outed. And you cited this earlier with the Trevor Project.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. My network, Merit TV, has it all.
Now, let me blow your mind.
Merit TV's got the news that matters,
the selection of a new pope,
entertainment you crave,
Busted.
Everybody in a good mood today?
and live events
Surprise.
What am I, chopped liver?
with serious punch.
Big shot.
Go to merittv.com and download the Merit TV app today.